I almost died today. And that's no joke. Like, I am not joking when I say that I almost died today. But before we get to the story, I want to share something with you really quickly. I'm sitting here editing that video, and I'm like, holy smokes, it just dawns on me. Like, Yoey, you almost died the first day that you were at Bannock Point. Literally, got in the night before, unpacked everything, set up the tent, woke up with the intention of shooting this wicked vlog, which I didn't get to do, showing you guys all around Bannock Point, and my camera's dead, my phone's dead, forces me to go into town where I almost die. Like, what? On the first day? Way to start off a trip, eh? Just bonkers. Crazy. I'm just sitting here like, what? Like, what? That happened? Anyways, let's get back to the story. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Stay lovely, y'all. I was in New Denver, the city that's just about 10 minutes from Bannock Point. And I was working outside. When I was working on editing some vlogs, I was working on sending some emails, taking care of that kind of stuff. And I'm still fasting at this point, and this was about to be my second day of fasting. And I remember sitting there working, and a little wasp that I didn't even notice comes along and stings me right on the shoulder. Right there. And that was the first time that I've ever been bitten by anything. Especially a wasp or a bee. And there's this part of me that had this irrational fear for so long from being stung by a bee or a wasp. Like, whenever I'd see one, I'd run away. I'd run away as fast as I could. I'd avoid it as quickly as I possibly could. But this time I didn't avoid it because I didn't see it. I didn't even hear it. And it stung me on the shoulder. And then what happened next is creepy. It's scary. I remember sitting there for about 5 minutes, like literally texted my friends, like, hey, I just got stung by a bee for the first time. Stoked, right? Stoked because I wanted to. It was on my bucket list for this year is to get stung. And that literally happened. What? That's so funny how the universe works. Whatever you say, speak what you seek until you see what it is that you've spoken. And so I'm sitting there. About 5 minutes passes, and all of a sudden my heart just goes. And I don't really know what's going on. I'm getting really sweaty. I can't really see very good anymore. And my tongue begins to kind of like puff up a little bit. And I remember standing up because I'm like, oh, I'm going to breathe through this. I'm going to Wim Hof this out of my body. Whatever the toxins are, I'm going to breathe. Yo, I'm going to get this out. Classic Keith, thinking he can do everything, right? And so I stood up. And that's the first time that I collapsed. And I collapsed. I rendered unconsciousness. And I just remember smoke in the ground. And I don't remember anything for about 30 seconds. And then I finally came to and I was sitting up. I don't even know how I got to sitting up. And then I knew that something was wrong. I knew that this wasn't right. I began to get more dizzy. I began to get more nauseous. I began to feel my tongue kind of puff and desensitize a little bit more. And I began to, I don't really even know what happened next. I remember going to my bag and trying to find $10 because I was just at a cafe, just sitting on the outside. And I was like, if this is fasting, I need food right now. And so I was like, I gotta grab the $10. And all I remember doing is grabbing the $10. And next thing you know, I'm awake in the coffee shop laying on the floor. I remember these two guys saying, you okay, man? You okay? You just collapsed, dude. You just collapsed. Oh my gosh, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, I couldn't stand up. I couldn't move. I couldn't find my water. I couldn't find my muffin. I couldn't find anything. I was just like, get me a water, get me a muffin. I just need this now. And that was the state that I was in. I was just collapsed there. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. And I wanted food because I thought food was going to make me feel better. I wanted to drink water because I thought water was going to make me feel better. And I got those and I started drinking those. And I still couldn't move. I still couldn't focus. I still couldn't stand up or sit up. There's just no grasp at anything. That's even what the people said. There was no, like, you couldn't do anything. Your motor functions weren't working. And all that I remember next is 911 showing up. And this lady on the phone with the ambulance, me being like, oh, I don't want to call the ambulance, that kind of jazz. But the ambulance showed up, and all of a sudden they're just like, they're poking me. There are 3 pokes in my arms, trying to find my IV, trying to pump me with something, an IV or something along those lines. And I remember just like, okay, I'm beginning to come back to life. I'm beginning to kind of reorganize. I'm beginning to remember things. I can see straight now. I can begin to like focus and see and breathe better. I'm starting to feel a little bit better at this point. And then they just put like from there, I was able to, like, after about 20 minutes of being poked and getting IV and that kind of stuff in my body, I was able to stand up and move to the stretcher, which I got taken to the hospital. And I spent the next 3 hours at the hospital doing chest scans, doing like all this different stuff. I was poked, I was prodded, my heart ECG was getting scanned, all this stuff was happening. And I was beginning to feel a little bit better and 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 a little bit better. And then the doctor comes back, everything was clear. He's not really sure what happened. He thinks that the stung may have triggered something, and because I was fasting, it only made that a little bit worse. And because it was my first time and had irrational fear, that only made it worse. And I was able to go on my way. I had to walk back from the hospital, which is about 2 kilometers to my car, because my car was left there. Everything was left there. Like, I had my laptop, I had my bag, I had my camera, I had everything left outside. And the people that were running the cafe, the people around were just so awesome at helping, and everyone was trying to help me. Like, they pushed me into the recovery position. They packed up my bags for me, put them in my car. They found my ID. They did just everything that I possibly could. So thank you so much, whoever helped me. Thank you so much, especially Tamara, who owns the coffee shop in New Denver. If you're there, you should check it out and see Tamara. She's wonderful, such a wonderful lady. And I just remember, like, feeling so fucking scared. Because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't focus. I couldn't see. I wasn't aware. And that scared the hell out of me. Because like, in those moments, I don't know what's going on. And there's a part of me that's still scared, because it's like, holy shit, that just happened. 911 ambulance ride, all this stuff to the hospital. I'm in the hospital. I'm doing all this stuff. It's just like, what's going on? It was crazy. It was crazy. And I'm so grateful that didn't happen out in the wilderness, out in the wild. And I'm also grateful that there was those people in the community. Like Tamara, I ended up going, like, as soon as I was at the hospital, I was like, okay, I'm going to eat some food, because I want to I'm going to stop fasting just in case that was part of it. But I don't believe it was. I believe it was just the bee sting, which the doctor did say. And so I went to the grocery store, bought some food, and I ended up seeing Tamara, the girl who owns the cafe. And I was like, I'm paying for her groceries, faux shizzy show. Just so blessed and so grateful that there's people in this community and people in this city that were able to help me. In a time, because I couldn't imagine what it would have been like out here. I would have been stuck. I would have been on my own. It's a scary, scary thing. But I'm a little bit better now. I'm thinking about packing everything up and packing, like, all the stuff up and heading back to Revelstoke, so I can just go sleep in a bed and I can get sat down, I can get organized, I can get good to go. So I'm in between whether or not I'm staying a night or going there. I'm going to sit with that after I end this video, and I'm going to meditate on it to see what happens, see what comes through. But man, it was crazy. Like, there was a part of me that thought I could have died. And I'm just so grateful for life, so grateful for everything. And this was just one of those moments in which I'm just here. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. Thank you guys so much for watching this, for supporting our journey, for being on this journey with me and my son and Lincoln. Like, I love you guys. I care about you guys so much. Like, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I'm so grateful. And as always, I always ask at the end of the video to subscribe to the channel if you found value from this. Maybe it's just me sharing. Maybe you can relate. Maybe something similar has happened to you. Just subscribe. Also, like and comment. What came to mind for you? What came to mind for you? Holy smokes. It was nuts. And until I see you guys next time, peace, love, Greece. I love you guys so much. Bye.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side, our fears are done.